So Danielle, how has generative AI prompted you to rethink assessment in K-12 education?
So I've been doing a lot of reading and research and supporting faculty in thinking about how Gen AI impacts their assessments. And so there are a couple of thoughts I have around this. So one, um, there's always the option to have students complete assessments in class under your supervision, right? So there are software packages out there that'll validate that a student has actually done the work by not letting them go off onto the internet or open another tab. um, and so the validity of your assessment is pretty safe, but that doesn't always work, and we don't always want to assess our students that way. So what about those projects or papers or other things that those more authentic assessments that we do with our students? So you there's one train of thought out of the University of Sydney in Australia, Danny Liu and others, that will tell you that you'll never know for sure whether or not a student has used Gen AI in their assessments, and they're talking about college level
Mhm.
students, right? So rather than say no Gen AI is allowed for these types of assessments, um, but knowing that students could still use it and you wouldn't know, help them with where they can use it and where they can't. So that menu option, and help scaffold it through and reflect that in your rubrics. So what were the prompts that you used? How did you assess the output it gave you? So they really embrace that as, look, unless they're going to do it right in front of you in a secure environment, you might as well embrace it and help them and scaffold that into the assignment. Talking about high school level students, um, I think that they're still developing those critical thinking skills, and so not at the college level yet. How do you help support them in developing those critical skills that they need at the high school level before getting to college? And that, to me, in building these authentic assessments, is thinking about, okay, being really honest with them about when and where and why you can use Gen AI. And are there places where they can use it? Can a 10th grader who is writing a research paper use it just for brainstorming, but not for deeper analysis later with their paper, right? So there are opportunities for us to let them use it in ways that is ethical, and evaluate the output, since this is another tool they use just like they would Google. And then for me, like, really the interesting question is, some of those assessments that we have been using for years, is it time to rethink what that looks like? Does it become more of a process than a product question, right? So what was the process that someone went through to complete this assessment or this project, rather than just looking at the end product that someone turns in?
Hmm.
So making their thinking visible to the teacher as well. So can you have different parts of a project be due, so you're not just seeing the end product? Are they is there an oral component where maybe they're doing a presentation to the class, and they need to be responsible for knowing this content well enough to deliver it to others? Is it a different representation of what the product could be? So instead of a written paper, could it be a digital story? Could it be some other creative piece? Is it something in which they're just pulling facts, or reimagining that assignment to where they're critically thinking about these facts? So those things that we know that Gen AI doesn't do well, can we get our students to start to do those types of assignments? And again, it's just being really honest about where we are with assessments, and being willing to be open-minded to rethink what that may look like. And it could be small steps. Like, I've supported faculty for a really long time, and I know that it's there's not a lot of time in the day to be able to do all these things. Even just some small changes, that maybe next semester you make another small change, and over the summer you make another small change to it, right? It doesn't have to be all at once, because I think that could be really overwhelming for teachers as well.
Got it.